Hello and welcome to Radio Free. My name is Kevin, and today I'm bringing you another one of our great interviews from the Radio Free podcast. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen some of his viral videos like Church Hunters, Christian Girl Instagram, and my favorite, the How It's Made Christian Music video. Now, let's talk to the man himself. It's my interview with comedian John Crist right here on Radio Free. Hello, friends, and welcome to another interview here on Radio Free. You know, here at Radio Free, we love to laugh, and laughter is good medicine, right? And there is somebody who is currently making us all laugh a whole lot around here, and I have that someone on the phone with me today, Mr. John Crist. Hey, John.
I think you might be the first radio guy I ever talked to that when you picked up the phone in private, you had the same voice as then when you turned on the microphone, dude. Very impressed.
It's just my voice. That's the problem, you know. But anyway.
Usually you call somebody, he's like, hey, man, what's up? So we're going to run let me turn on the microphone, start recording. Hey, everybody, it's Kevin and Bean in the morning. I'm like, whoa, what? Is this the same guy? What's happening here?
Well,
I like it.
Well, to our listeners, you guys have probably you've probably seen some of John's videos. He has a bunch of short comedy videos out there. They've gone viral. And check this out. He's actually bringing a live comedy set to our area next week. The Captive Thoughts Comedy Tour will be making a stop at Crossroads Community Church in Summerville on October 21st. So, John, thank you for spending a little time with us today. And can we get to know you a little bit, man? Can you give us a little bit of backstory? Where were you born and raised?
Shoot, born and raised. Well, it's funny you say that people have probably seen some of my videos, because usually you walk through the airport or something like that, and everybody, because they're like, especially being on the radio, they're going to be like, John Crist, no, I for sure don't know him. But then they see me and they're like, oh, like people always come up to me like, dude, you're that guy. Like they don't really know from, but they're like, I know this guy from somewhere. Like either some way my video has come across their timeline or their feed or something. But when somebody says, hey, do you want to go John Crist comedy show? They went, no, who? Never heard of it. But then you show them a photo of it. Oh, that guy?
The guy with the hair.
Yeah.
At this point in the conversation, his call dropped, so I quickly called him back. Cell phones, you know? You love them, you hate them.
Right?
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think I was on a roll there. I was about to invite people forward to get saved.
Well, you were telling me that people recognize you. Is the hair part of the deal? Because you've got some pretty fabulous hair.
Are we recording now? Are we good?
We are totally recording. I didn't even stop.
Okay, yeah. That's probably part of it. Sometimes I wear a hat. You get less people responding to you or recognizing you. But also, it's sometimes it's the voice, which is a weird thing. Like if somebody... you're in line at getting food or something, and they'll be like, I recognize that guy. I recognize that voice, I don't know. But yeah, it's funny where people recognize, when I went back to the South, or because I grew up in Georgia, so I'm kind of from the South, and my comedy's been more, I guess, received more warmly in the South amongst Christians and stuff like that. You go up to Boston, nobody's going to know who I am up there. Right. I mean, they might, but it's going to be less. Yeah, you go around Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, Charlotte. That's my bread and butter, man.
Well, tell me how you got started in comedy, John. Who are some of your heroes of comedy? And you're safe here. You know what? You don't have to say Foxworthy or Hawkins. You can say whatever you need to say.
Foxworthy. Those guys are great. I've toured with both of them. So I was watching the Kings of Comedy when I was in high school or something like that, and I saw Cat Williams stand-up comedy special, and then I saw Brian Regan stand-up comedy special, and these were when I was young. And comedy kind of has a way. Comedy's strange in that way. So either you're gonna anybody who go to a comedy show, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, I connected on a deep, almost a spiritual level with that comic, or it's going to be not really my thing. And that's how comedy, the worst thing you can be as a comic is somebody who's like, yeah, it was all right. I didn't love it, didn't hate it. You want to be, if you're committed to who you are and you're passionate about your angles of point of, a lot of people are going to love you, but a lot not like you. And that's I think where you want to be. It's funny because YouTube, rates the popularity of videos not on positive and negative comments, but just on comments total. You know what I'm saying? So if you watch something and you're emotionally moved in a way to comment on it, the artist in a way has won. So it's like if you can inspire some kind of emotional connection, when that's a lot of, I think that's a lot of times what's happened on my videos. They're like vast, I would say, majority of America. I mean, America's a gigantic place, but most people are like, yep, I don't know who that is, doesn't connect to me, I don't really know, it's not really my thing. But the people that are on board with my like humor, they're like, they think that we're like actually friends. Like, did you like grow up with me? Like, are you in my house right now? And these people would drive 5 and 6 and 7 hours to come see me perform, because they're like, wow, this guy gets it. There's no, to a lot of people, I don't connect with them, you know what I'm saying? But I'm fine with that.
Well, I think what resonates with me and probably all these people you're talking about so deeply about what you do is that Christian quote unquote culture can just be so silly, and so discuss some of your videos, man. Like like the millennial proposal, dude, like that one actually upset my wife because it's so accurate, and it's so like, it's harsh. And then like church hunters and then Swag Seminary. I mean, you were calling people out by name in that thing. So good.
Swag Seminary was like that's still one of my favorites, but you find with the videos, or at least we found with they got to be the perfect combination of truth and humor to spread. Right. So I can't get a video on by myself to spread at all. Saying I rely on the people that watch it to spread it, right? So my follower, the first round of people that are going to see it are going to be my followers. I need them to share it. And I feel like maybe I thought Flag Seminary was like the best thing I'd ever created, and it didn't share that well because it was like, I think it was too real. It was a little too I don't know. Like, I liked it. The millennial marriage proposal is one of my favorites because I think, well, besides your wife, but most people were like, I've done this, but this is fun. Right. I'm going to do this, but this is like I like it when the victim of the joke still enjoys it. It's not so harsh where the person is like, I'm angry. It's like, it's kind of like gently like poking holes at a thing, which is my whole goal with making jokes about our faith. It's not to encourage people to leave it or to make fun of it. It's trying to help people cope with. It's like you got that. Every family has that weird uncle in their family, and if you can make jokes about him and kind of tease him, then when he comes to Christmas, you can handle it better and you can cope with it. It's not to kick him out of the family. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right. That's so good.
I kind of roasted Christian music or different parts of the Christian culture. Not to say people need to stop listening to Christian music. It's more of we can be better. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
This should be better, and this is my way of if you just let's say you're frustrated with Christian music, right? Which a lot of people apparently are. A lot of people identified with the video. Frustrated with Christian music. If you type a blog post about how all Christian music is cliche and boring and you don't connect with it, that message does not share because it's just a person. But if you kind of drench and lace that whole thing with humor, now that message can now travel farther because people will share it and connect with it. But so it's got to be, like I said, it's got to be the perfect combination of truth and humor, but sometimes they go too far with the truth, and then sometimes they go too far with the humor. So,
do you find that your brand of humor, especially when you go around doing your tour and meeting physical people, do you find that that overwhelmingly unites people more than divides?
100%.
Yeah, okay, I would 100%. Think so. That's awesome, man. That's so cool.
I did. That's what people think about, especially these days with racially things like that. There's every race is in my show. We were doing some conference where there was Like, the goal of any racial joke is to point out the differences. So, like, you got a black person, white person, Asian, Latino in a room. Like, hey, traditionally, when as a white person, when I see this, this is how I respond. And when somebody else goes, well, I see the same thing, this is how I see it. It's not to perpetuate stereotypes or anything like that. It's to kind of identify the different. There is racial differences that exist in people groups. That's fine. That is okay. What's the problem when you think your way is better than that, their way? But pointing out the differences, that goes way far. We did some kind of a Christian conference, and there was like a panel on like racial diversity in church. They had all these different races, and just talking about like it is, and like me and the co-host was a black guy, and I made a joke about him, and then that laughing together about racial differences goes so much farther to end racism than any kind of like panel or like discussion or like sensitivity class or like anything like that. Like to make jokes about certain topics, again, not in a divisive or hurtful way, but just referencing the difference is like, oh, so you guys are just like us, but you just think, oh, that makes sense. I see why you're like that. Oh, I see why you're like that. Oh, okay, so we're not that different. Oh, okay. And then it's like you find that it's overwhelmingly unifying rather than divisive every single show. Yeah.
Well, tell us about the show then. Like, you're coming through here, and what would someone expect at a John Crist show? What does it look like?
Oh man. Well, I think I want to say there's a 7:00 show that's already sold out.
I saw that.
Sold out.
How about that?
Fairly quick.
Yeah.
We added, I think the one we're still trying to fill, which I would imagine it would probably fill up by the end of this week, is the 2:00 show, it's a matinee show. It's fantastic, man. I kind of come out, people, lots of times. So I've been doing stand-up comedy for 8 years, and a lot of people don't know that because they all they know is from the videos, the viral videos, which are not stand-up comedy. They're just like whatever jokes, you know what I'm saying? So people are like, oh, we just kind of like watch your videos for 90 minutes. I was like, no, there's I bring an open. I got another comic with me. His name's Heath Arthur. He's a funny guy. I've been traveling with him for a long time. We do play a video or two, and then it's like just a commentary on, but if you're Christian, you'll love it. If you're not a Christian, you'll have a great time too. It's everybody there. It's like all family friendly, but it's some of the things that you've always like have thought about, but you never. Comedy's great in that way, where like the best kind of comedy is when you're like, oh, I totally have thought that before, but the comedian articulated it in a way that was like new to you, and you're like, oh man, that's brilliant right there. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but you gotta have a time of your life.
Can you tell me, we're a radio station here. We're an independent, nonprofit radio station. So we do what we want to do, which is cool. And we are those people that are kind of fed up with the state of contemporary Christian music. But what are you listening to, John Crist? Like what's on your playlist right now?
Oh man, great question. Okay, so I live out in Los Angeles, but I'm still like a product of the South. So I was just listening to Kenny Chesney, which is probably not going to give me that much street credit, honestly. But
we may have to edit that out, actually. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Take that. Actually, this conversation, you just hang up right now, and I get it. I listen to a lot of country, and then the worships I do like. It's weird because you kind of you have to kind of stereotype things like all Christian music is this way, but there's a lot of like young Christian artists that are coming up fantastic. Jordan Feliz is great. Lauren Daigle is great. There's a lot of young Christian artists that are coming up that are making great music that I do like, but it's kind of like cookie cutter stuff that it's like, oh man, this is like a little much. But a lot of times I would get into I like to listen to a lot of sports. So I would probably listen to a lot of sports radio. But again, that probably doesn't help my street credit either.
That's all right. We just want to know. We want to know John Crist, the mind of John Crist.
There you go.
Well, man, I appreciate you spending time with us, John. I know I've exceeded the time limit. I got the Rockstar 10-minute time limit, and so your manager's looking at me right now with angry eyes. Who is Emma, by the way? Is that your sister, your wife, your mom?
Sister. Yeah,
your sister. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. People all the time are like I did it. We did it. I don't know what it was, like a Valentine's Day show one time, and the pastor comes out and he goes, I've been just talking with this guy's wife for, 3 months setting up this show. And then I come out, I was like, Valentine's Day, hey girls, anybody single in the house? And I do this kind of thing. And then everyone was just mortified. I got on stage, I was like, what happened with that opener? And they were like, oh, we told everyone you were married. I was like, oh yeah, no, what? Okay. Whoops.
Yeah, John, the Captive Thoughts comedy tour is coming to our area again on October 21st at Crossroads Community Church in Summerville. Like you said, the 7 p.m. show is sold out. But if you guys are listening and you want to try to get in on that 2 p.m. show, they are still selling tickets. You can find information at johnchristcomedy.com. John, thank you so much for spending time with Radio Free today, man.
You got it. Much love. Can't wait to see you guys out there. We'll see you.
Again, our guest today was comedian John Crist. All of his info will be in the show notes of this episode of the Radio Free Podcast, which can be found on iTunes. If you have any questions or comments about John Crist or any of the other guests we feature here on Radio Free, please email us. The address is info@radiofree.cc. We love to hear from our listeners, so please write in to tell us what you think. Also, please take a minute to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes to hear more great interviews. And if you'd like to help support Radio Free so we can continue bringing you these interviews, as well as great music and programming, we are an official 501c3 nonprofit, so you can make a tax-deductible contribution on our website, radiofree.cc. My name is Kevin Smith, and I want to say thanks for listening to Radio Free.